North Korea this morning announced it's refusing to allow South Korean workers into a joint industrial complex in the north. It comes after the North refused to allow 446 South Korean workers to leave, though the North reversed that decision hours later. It comes a day after North Korea vowed to reopen a plutonium reactor and increase production of uranium. The facility can produce enough uranium for one bomb per year. Also, on Tuesday, the White House revealed the destroyer USS Decatur is in the Western Pacific, poised to respond if needed. The guided missile destroyer USS McCain is already positioned off the coast of Korea. Now, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry called the recent surge of threats unacceptable and said restarting the nuclear facility would breach international agreements.
What Kim Jong-un has been choosing to do is provocative, it is dangerous, reckless, and the United States will not accept the DPRK as a nuclear state. And I reiterate again, the United States will do what is necessary to defend ourselves and defend our allies.
Pamela Falk is a CBS News foreign affairs analyst here this morning to help us figure out what's going on. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, Anne-Marie.
So we've been listening to a lot of threats. Now those threats have some verbs to them. They say they're going to start up this nuclear complex again. What is the reaction of the international community? How concerned is the international community?
They're very worried. This is a dangerous escalation, and UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, who is traveling in Europe but is South Korean, said that nuclear weapons are not a game. And he's really addressing that to a very young new leader, Kim Jong-un, who isn't as familiar with the talks and the idea that this could really lead to some kind of war.
Yeah. Now, looking at this nuclear complex, it can be used for military reasons if they want to. If they actually get this thing up and running, what do you expect the reaction from South Korea and the U.S. to be?
Well, it would take about 6 months, is what the experts say, to produce anything out of this plant. But what they're worried about is that the plutonium is more likely to be used in a bomb and to miniaturize. In other words, to make a small bomb that's capable of putting on an intercontinental ballistic missile. That's the concern. And if he goes ahead with it, it really does ramp up the danger to South Korea, to Japan, to China even. And China has a new leader that's not very happy, who's really not happy with this, and has warned North Korea. The problem is, what do you do next if you can't get them back to the table? That's what Secretary of State Kerry is trying to do.
Speaking of getting back to the table, Secretary of State Kerry and the South Korean foreign minister both said that the door was still open to multinational disarmament talks. But what's the likelihood of getting North Korea to come back to the table?
I actually think it's likely, and that's because they've pushed it to the limit. They've made a new test. They got more UN sanctions, and now the only way out is to try to find some way to get back to what are called the six-party talks. What North Korea has said over and over again is they want direct talks with the United States. That, I think, is being very heavily debated within the administration, but it's a possibility. The problem is, if they don't back down, the escalation itself could cause either an accident or a crisis. And right behind that is an arms race in the Middle East and Asia, where other countries, if North Korea is able to get it, South Korea will want it, and Jordan, Vietnam, Saudi Arabia are all looking to develop nuclear weapons. If you don't keep this genie in a bottle, as people talk about the Non-Proliferation Treaty, you're going to end up with an arms race.
Maybe are there any other diplomatic options to at least simmer things down so that the talk doesn't get so far that someone feels they need to act?
You know, it's funny. Every administration, the Clinton administration, Bush administration, Obama, have tried different things. Offer food, offer fuel, and then deprive the government of all of it. Nothing seems to work. So it's a very opaque regime. It's very hard to tell. But the idea here is stop it before it keeps going. And negotiation seems to be the only route out.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's what will happen. We'll see as we move forward. Pamela Falk, CBS News foreign affairs analyst, thanks for joining us and explaining things a little bit to us.
Let's hope.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thanks.